Let's take a trip to Rivers State. As the political tussle in Rivers State continues to fester, the gladiators are unrelenting in bringing more turmoil in the state. This time, the Amaewhule-led Rivers State House of Assembly and the faction loyal to Governor Siminalayi Fubara have initiated a fresh round of crisis. On Tuesday, the Amaewhule faction declared the seats of 4 of their colleagues loyal to Governor Fubara vacant over absenteeism. Reacting, the Pro-Fubara faction led by Victor Oko-Jumbo insisted that Amaewhule and his group have ceased to be lawmakers in the state. The group called on the Independent National Electoral Commission INEC to conduct by-election to fill the vacant seats. The new power play followed the battle for the political control of the state between Governor Fubara and the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory FCT, Nyesom Wike. Let's hear more on this from this report.
The lawmakers are riding on the backs of the judgment of Justice James Omotosho of the Federal High Court in January and that of the Court of Appeal on the 10th of October 2024. According to them, these judicial interventions are an affirmation of their legitimacy and the leadership of Martin Amaewhule as Speaker. The lawmakers moved and supported a motion to declare the seats of 4 of their colleagues vacant for absenting themselves from the House for 152 legislative days. The last full sitting, attended by all 31 members, was in October 2023.
As the Speaker is empowered by Section 109(2) of the 1999 Constitution as altered to give effect to Section 109(1) of the Constitution and declare their seats vacant in following satisfactory evidences of their willful absence from meetings to sitting of the House for 96 out of 177 legislative sittings to meetings in the first section and 56 out of the 56 legislative sittings to meeting in the second section of the 10th Assembly.
Their seats are here vacant.
Among those whose seats were declared vacant is Edison Eye. The argument is that Mr. Aye's resignation from the House before his appointment as Chief of Staff to the Governor did not follow due process.
Relying on the provisions of Section 109, subsection 2 of the 1999 Constitution, and of course, Section 109, subsection 1E and F, that the seats of these 4 members have been declared vacant.
They also expressed readiness to receive the 2024 appropriation bill from Governor Siminalayi Fubara.
We are going to allow the governor one more opportunity to present, because he has never presented it. He never presented to anybody in the eyes of the law. It's been declared by the High Court, it's been declared by the Court of Appeal. We don't have a budget. We have said so from the beginning. We are giving the governor another opportunity.
The House of Assembly says the next step would be to write to the Independent National Electoral Commission to conduct election to fill the seats which it declared vacant.
Rivers State. BKO, the appeal court ruling recently, granted legality to the Martin Amaewhule leadership of the House of Assembly. Now, right now, both factions are now declaring each other vacant. What do you make of the whole scenario?
As I've said repeatedly, it's the judiciary that can solve this problem.
Not politics?
No. It's a matter of time. The judiciary will solve this problem. This nonsense will come to an end. I'm confident that the judiciary will solve this problem, because you cannot, as 3 members, run a house. You can't run a house with 3 members. The Supreme Court has ruled on the number of people who can legally run a house.
Talking about forming a quorum?
Yes. without which you can't take big decisions, like impeachment, for example, like
budget,
screening the governor's nominees,
okay,
budget passage and all that. You can't with three individuals. It's ridiculous. So now what the courts will decide whether Martin Amaewhule and co have defected and lost their seats. People can say what they like. Oh, you automatically your seats have been declared vacant. It's a lie. It's a lie. It is the courts that can take those seats.
Sometimes you see people who you think know the law.
No, people bring emotions into
the conversation.
Everything these days in Nigeria. Emotions come in. There are very few people who will look at an issue dispassionately. People are thinking, if I say this, they will hate me. If I say this, I will lose friends. If I say this, they will say Jide is a fool. I don't want them to drag me on social media. I don't want them to call me names. That is, a lot of people see what is wrong about our society. They are not prepared to say it because they believe they will hurt some people. That has now become what determines whether people air their views on certain issues. Things will be paining them. They will stomach the pain. They don't want people who hold contrary opinion to them to hate them. That is the biggest problem. You cannot tell me that people don't know that 3 persons cannot run a house.
Exactly.
You can't now. Where in the world? I've asked people, show me one country where this thing has ever happened. We are not the only democracy in the world. And Rivers is not the only subnational in the world. Countries have counties, they have states, they have... Show me where 3 persons are running a house. It is the height of madness. And we are behaving like, okay, it is right. Since Wike is somebody that we don't like, whatever appears to go against his interests, even if it is illegal, it sits well with us. I don't know how we became like this, honestly. No one is, I'm not saying, I'm not a judge.
Okay.
I'm not a lawyer. But to the glory of God, I've sat here many times and predicted how cases will go in our country. And it went like that. Even a case that the Attorney General of the Federation, Malami, filed in the Southeast 2 years ago, I predicted that this was the way to be decided. And by the grace of God, it went just like that. So I don't need to be a lawyer to know what is wrong. To read the law and be able to even interpret it and ask questions. So what I'm saying, Martin Amaewhule or Oko-Jumbo, they can do tit for tat declaration of seats vacant. After all, the PDP also showed us that they can do tit for tat suspensions. So this is the era of, oh, if you tackle me, I will double you. I didn't even know that you two had heard of it. I'm not exactly a small boy.
I stayed in my history class.
So the courts will determine. Martin Amaewhule, are you fit to continue to occupy those seats? It's the court that can decide. If anybody tells you they've automatically lost their seats, I've told you that it's ridiculous to talk like that. When somebody commits murder, the law says he too will lose his life. But that is upon trial. Not that you just go straight, you go and get a knife and cut the person's head. No, now. No. And this one too cannot be like that. It is the court that will decide. Anybody who has won an election and got a certificate of return, only the court can take back that seat. And I've seen it happen. In Senate, people have lost their seats after they defected.
Okay.
I've seen it in the House of Reps, but it was the courts that took it from them. So when people tell you, no, they've automatically lost their seat, tell them that they are saying rubbish. It is the courts that can take. And that's why people like Martin, they sit there, because they know that no one can simply expect that they will go away. It is the court that can chase them away. When the courts chase them away, the courts will now order INEC to go and do an election. Okay. Oko-Jumbo is saying that he does not understand why INEC has not conducted a fresh election. By your own pronouncement, you a leader of two men. You just want to speak to INEC, and INEC will listen to you. Oh, when you move away from there, you will then call the conference of speakers and tell them, why did you allow Martin Amaewhule to attend your meeting? Martin Amaewhule has lost his seat. He's no longer a speaker. It is the courts that can determine those things. When we tell them these things, they don't want to listen. But the truth is by nature self-evident, whether you like it or not, whether the truth is palatable to you or not. Okay. In the fullness of time, as I've said before, the truth is like a mole. You know that insect called a mole. You cover it at one end, it will borrow the sand, borrow itself out of the sand and come out. So this thing, the courts will decide. When the court decide, all these tit for tat declaration of seats vacant, it will end, and we will now know whether, because we're approaching another budget, 2025. Fubara must present a budget.
Exactly. Who is going to
present Whom is he going to present it to? The courts have said you can't present to three persons. You've run to the Supreme Court. Now, if the Supreme Court says no, you can't present to two persons, where do you then go? That is a question that I think I was asking my colleague here that day. Because when the court said you cannot present to those two individuals, okay, whom did they say you should present it to?
That's a question. But, Olabisi, let's talk peace now.
Yeah.
Peace. Let's peace. BKO said it's only the courts.
I was just looking at him when he was talking about the judiciary, because I'm asking myself, what is the role of the judiciary in all of this mess in the first instance? And also the fact that even this battle we talk about, both of these factions are fighting the battles of their political lives. It's about themselves. It's not about the people. It's not about the people. It's not about the people. And unfortunately, when two elephants fight, the grass suffers and the people suffer. So really, I don't even see, because what also gives you the right to be elected on the platform of a party and to defect to another party and to still think you will continue to enjoy the benefits that the party that puts you into power and all of that.
Actually,
so now, for me, I think, first of all, as a country, we need to work around the rule of law that governs our activities. Okay. We need to talk about what happens when a party member defects, for example. It has to be very written. A written code, a written law that we don't need to go to the judiciary again, to court, to interpret for us. We need to put things in place. So for the sake of the people.
The law says, that's why I gave that example. Even if we know that if you kill, your life will be taken, the court must still put you on trial. Exactly. And on this matter, constitutional provisions are interpreted by the courts. People will go to court. And I've said, look, they are not the first people to be in this situation. Hilanwo, what's the name of that lawmaker from Ondo State? He lost his seat in the National Assembly because he was challenged.
Because for me, the two factions are not working in the interest of the people.
They are not working in the interest of the people.
They are not working in the interest of the people. And the earlier they knew that the reason where they are there is because of the people, the better.
The better for them.
Because all of this.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Thank you very much. Olabisi Teju. Thank you very much for having this conversation.
Thanks for having me.
BKO, the veteran. Thank you very much for having this conversation with me.